Hey, what's up, friend? Are you a mama who wants to stop just getting by? Maybe you're motivated to grow yourself in your motherhood, your marriage, and you want it to bear fruit. Or maybe you want to stop letting the mom guilt, the shame, the limiting beliefs, and lies. Amen. That's me right there, sister. And start stepping into the woman and the truth that God has created you to be. While we're juggling all the things, right? Nursing a baby, battling laundry, trying to keep it together, and a spicy marriage. But where the heck do we start? Hey friend, you are in the right place. I am here to hold your hand through this journey because I believe when you're ready to take control of your life, beat the limiting excuses, and step into the woman God created you to be, you can not only survive, but you can thrive. But you're gonna have to show up for yourself. It's time for me to tough love your way through taking self-care seriously, investing and growing in your marriage, and owning your motherhood, and getting rid of those excuses because the glory is in the journey. It's in the mess. In this podcast, you'll find navigating mom guilt, mindset, and marriage strategies, and everything in between, with no fluff and lots of fun. Let's go. Hey, what's up, sis? I was working on something today, and I want to share with you the nugget of knowledge. Can we call it? Should we have nuggets of knowledge days? I think we need to have nuggets of knowledge days where I give you like a 5-minute episode of my little nugget of knowledge, which you probably may already know. But like I said 1,000 times, it always hits harder when you hear somebody else say it to you out loud versus like you thinking it in your head and you're like, well, maybe that could be a thought. Anyways, I'll stop rambling. Let me share with you this nugget of knowledge that I grasped onto today. So while I was doing some research, I was reading about I don't even remember what I was reading about, but there was a sentence in there that hit really hard, and it was like, the love for yourself is the most valuable love you can ever have. And sometimes we devalue that love, like we see it as less important, we see it as less valuable, we see it as like, something that we just brush off our shoulder when we're like, like I love myself, but it's kind of an afterthought versus when you chase after the love of somebody else, like you will go sometimes to the ends of the earth to receive that love, right? Like you need it to validate you, to make you feel worthy, to make you feel important, to make you feel valuable, versus your own love for yourself. You're like, yeah, I love myself. It's like not a big deal, right? I'm here to tell you that the love that you have for yourself is indeed the most important love that you have, because it is the only love that will allow you to live. Let me repeat that. The love that you have for yourself is the only love that will allow you to truly live. So if you're sitting in the car, you're listening to this podcast, wherever you are right now, and you're thinking, how much do I love myself? And when you're looking at it in a scale sense, and you're relating it to how much are you truly living, does it match up? Like in a negative and a good way, right? Because some of us are like, yes, we've done the work, we're putting in the hours, we're facing the hard things, we're doing the healing, and we are finding that we are living fully. We are loving fully. We're living more, and we are stepping into it, and it's amazing, right? And if you're in the other end of the spectrum, it's like, oh, well, I haven't done that work. I'm not treating myself so great. I'm not putting value on loving myself, and so therefore I haven't been living. I feel stuck. I feel like there's no way out. I feel less than. I feel less valuable. I don't see the importance of me. I don't see the value of me. I'm not how I want to be inside or out. This makes me think of the dating scene where I would be in toxic relationship to find commitment, stability, security. And in those, I would chase this idea of being loved. Like if I would just be loved, it would provide all the things that I need. But I was so dependent on that love that when it was stripped away, my value, my self-worth, all those other things disappeared, right? Like there was no foundation because I didn't do the work. I didn't love myself. I didn't value that love. I didn't even know how at that point, right? So I think that, even when we move on into our future and we're in healthy relationships, we're in a better place. Like if we haven't done the work and we still don't see the value in the love of ourselves because somebody else has picked up the slack for us, then we still aren't truly living because we're questioning who we are. We don't know who we are, especially when you add in kids to the picture. That's how motherhood identity crises happen, right? And so I just want to remind you today that your love for yourself is extremely valuable. It is the most important love that you can ever experience aside from God, okay? Like, that should already be known, okay? If you listen to my podcast, Jesus is king, okay? So, like, if you don't love yourself, though, there's so many spiraling repercussions from that, like, girl, I've been there. I feel you. I know you. You are me. And we got to do the hard work, sis. Like, because that only ripples down. Like, the same thing when we are pouring into ourselves, how, like, that overflow from us pours out onto everybody around us, our family, our kids. Well, the same thing can happen if you're, like, dehydrating yourself, right? There's nothing to squeeze out, nothing good. There's nothing great to pour into anything. Like, it's just barely there. You're just giving a droplet, man. And, like, your family, your kids, like, your spouse is, like, squeezing so hard just to get some sort of, like, hydration out of you. And it's just not happening. So, okay, to break it down, I want to share with you an excerpt from this random site that I found when I was researching. But I really love this little blurb that they wrote about self-love, and it says, it's the first step to building a great relationship with yourself. Independence from someone else's approval, criticism, and security is one of the most liberating things you'll ever feel. By doing this, you're setting the stage for yourself. You'll begin to trust and believe in your decisions and act on them with confidence. When you have this kind of relationship with yourself, everything else becomes possible and a whole lot easier. It's the only way to find true love. Self-love is a prerequisite for genuinely loving another and allowing yourself to be loved in return. Y'all, I mean, that almost brings me to tears. Like, self-love is a prerequisite for genuinely loving another and allowing yourself to be loved in return. If you feel like you don't deserve to be loved, or you're not allowing yourself to be loved at the capacity that I know you should be allowing yourself to be loved, because you deserve it, you're worthy, you're valuable, you are made in his image, right? Like, then I'm here to tell you, you deserve it. Like, I can't convince you of that, but you have to do the work. You have to see your true value. Like, you weren't just, some extra skin and some extra eyeballs laying on the side, and God threw you together and was like, plop, here you go on the planet. Like, do something with yourself. No, like, he created you with a purpose, with every single strand of your hair in mind, with every single freckle in mind, with every single speck in your eyeballs, eye color in mind, right? Like, everything about you is intentionally and intimately made by the ultimate creator. And so if that doesn't convince you that you need to start loving yourself, I don't know what will. And it's hard. It is hard, especially if you have past things that have went on. And, like, it's a journey. Like, I am in my 30s and still now stepping into this idea of, like, what does that look like and why? And how do I continue growing in that? And how do I continue to feel that liberating sense and security, right, for myself? So it's a long-ass journey, but it is worth it. And so I want to remind you that your love for yourself and taking time for yourself and putting in the work, because we go through phases, right? Like, I feel like men have it easy, as it's just kind of this linear, like, just straight line across the board. I feel like kids happen in their life, but it doesn't change a woman as much as, like, it does for them, right? Because there's something about becoming a mom and motherhood where it just completely throws us a life ball curve, and we have to figure out who the heck we are after that. Like, who are we after that? And maybe it's because of all the physical and emotional, mental changes that happen in our bodies that and maybe it does affect men. I don't know. I don't want to throw that out there. I don't want to say something that's incorrect, but just outwardly observing, I feel like that is the case. And so, like, we have to do this all over. We do it all through our 20s, and we're trying to figure out who the heck we are. And then it feels like as soon as we're on the tip of that, bam, we have a baby. Maybe it's like in your 30s that hits later, right? And you're like, bam, we have a baby. And then it's like, I'm mom. And then wait, who was that girl I once knew? Right? So then it's like this ongoing process for us, but it is worth the journey. And so I just wanted to share that nugget of knowledge of self-love. Your love for yourself is the most valuable love there is. It is not the love of somebody else. Although that is like, if you have a spouse and he's your ride or die, like that is great. But also the love for yourself still plays a huge part into how you're accepting and receiving that love, right? So if you see other people's love and validation towards you as the most important, and it's what makes you feel special, worthy, valuable, seen, I want to put you on to the fact that no, it's the way that you love yourself that makes you valuable, loved, seen, complete, whole, right? So that's my nugget of knowledge for the day. We got in there. If that hit a chord with you, I'd love for you guys to shoot me a message, the Ash Carroll on Instagram. Girls, I'm on TikTok, okay? Like, I don't know what I'm doing over there, but I'm having a dang good time embarrassing myself. So if you're on TikTok, the Ash Carroll as well over there. I love it. I love me some TikTok. And like I said in the previous episode before, I'm working on some group coaching. I am truly pumped at the idea of vibing with a group of women who truly want to continue to do some self-growth work and really want somebody to step in and say like, hey, here's where your blind spots are. Here's where we're going to do better. Here's how we're going to thrive better. Like, we're done surviving. We can be great moms, we can be great wives, but we got to start with you first, sis, and like really step into that and really enjoy like the New Year's coming up. And I am so passionate about you living your best life because you only have this one opportunity, right? Like, we only have this one shot. And we always hear about how when people interview elderlies, they're like, oh, you know, what is the thing? And they always list their regrets and blah, 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 right? And you don't want none of that, okay? Like, we want to live it to the best and be able to step back and say, you know what? I did the dang thing. I gave it all my all. I didn't settle. I loved like crazy. I had so much fun. I loved myself. I experienced life to the fullest. I gave it all that I had instead of just settling for, that's just the way it is. That's just how things are. There's no other choice, right? Like, we really want to step into that. So if you're here for that, I'm here for that. And I was sharing some details about how that's going to go down and how you can sign up for that, because I'm only going to do a small group at a time, because you know how we be when we get in a group, we're like talking all over each other. So I wanted to make sure that this time is valuable to you and everybody gets an opportunity to chat and to talk and to grow and to benefit. And so information about that will be coming. But if you love this episode, if you found it valuable, if you find my other episodes valuable as well, please make sure you share those. Please make sure you're putting yourself first in some way today, and I will catch you next time. Bye, sis.